What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Hunter podcast. Thanks for hopping on. This is episode 53 with Moose Ridge Nutrition. Moose Ridge, they're out of Wyoming, and they make freeze-dried meals, and they're awesome. I tried them out this year or this spring on bear hunt, and they're great. They taste good. And they also have really good ingredients. And what's really cool is most of their meals, all except for one of them, are gluten free. So if you are a gluten free person, then there's lots of options for you through Moose Ridge, and they have good ingredients, and they're at a good price point, and they're all made right there in their little shop in Wyoming. So you know you're going to get good product from a great company, and they literally just launched a couple weeks ago. So they're awesome. It was great talking to them about just like backcountry nutrition, some of the stuff they're doing, and just their family and stuff is really cool. If you want to save a little bit of money and go buy some of their product, you can use the code Creative Hunter. You'll get a little bit of a discount there, 10% off. And so you should check them out because they're great. And I love them. I'm definitely going to be using them a bunch this summer and this fall when I go on my backcountry backpack hunts for multiple days. So thanks for hopping on and listening. As always, if you use the code podcast15 at checkout on my website, creativehuntermedia.com, you can save on any product, hats, hoodies, Bino visors, anything we got on there. You can save. And there's going to be some newer stuff coming soon, especially for people who want to learn more about filming your hunts and photography. I'm kind of working on some fun stuff in the works. I don't know what the time frame is on some of that stuff, but it's exciting. So anyways, guys, we're gonna get in this episode here real quick. Thanks for hopping on. Let's get to it. Jared and Savannah, where are you guys based out of?
We're in Buffalo, Wyoming.
Okay, awesome. And cool. So tell me about Moose Ridge Nutrition and just like why you guys started, because there's a lot of other companies in the industry that like are making similar types of stuff. But I'm curious to know like why you guys started and what makes you guys different.
Yeah. I guess we kind of started for two reasons. One is because I'm picky when it comes to food. And two is we were walking through Baumgart's one day. Jared saw a freeze dryer and decided that that's what we should do for a business. Um, Really, we just wanted to like come up with some meals that were different from what was kind of out there on the market already. We felt like there was a lot of really similar things, and I myself, I'm gluten free, and so there were a lot of options that were like gluten free friendly at the time. I know there's like at least one big company right now that does a lot of gluten free stuff, but wanted to kind of come up with some more and come up with some different ideas. And I actually work as a registered dietitian, and so kind of utilizing that background with Jared's background growing up in Wyoming and doing lots of outdoorsy things, hunting, hiking, fishing, all that good stuff, and trying to just come up with something that was different from what was already out there, and just trying to make things that taste good, taste better, hopefully, was our goal.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you guys have done a great job with it. I loved like all the meals that you guys sent over.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised. Yeah, I was surprised at the tofu one because like
I
I've
fought
never
really hard
even
for
had
that one.
tofu in my life. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
people are
pretty
always
good.
hesitant to try that one.
Yeah, and I mean, and I even thought about mixing in like one of those chicken packs or something with it
Mhm.
Yeah,
if I wanted to, you know.
yeah.
And
Yeah, me and my brother go. We
those
usually
those
try.
protein, go
Go
for
ahead.
it.
I was gonna say when me and my brother go hunting and stuff, we usually try to find a grouse, shoot a grouse, cut it up, and put it in there. Ends up pretty good.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect. There's a lot of grouse out there. I see them all the time, so
Oh, yeah.
it's a good idea. Um, and something you guys do different too is you have those protein packs that um that you could mix in with anything.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, cool. So, how long have you guys been like? When did you first decide to start doing this? Because you
First
just
society, it's
released your
probably,
products.
yeah, we've been working on it for what, 2.5 years.
Yeah, we would
Almost.
have. I think we started. The idea of it started in 2022. And then, but we got I think our LLC says we got it in 2023, but then it's obviously been a journey
Hmm.
since we just started selling like a couple weeks ago. So,
Yeah, a lot of testing,
Yeah.
a lot of things to get through to get to this point. But officially, it's probably been
Yeah,
a
I
couple
can
weeks.
imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, if we
That's
didn't
cool.
have Savannah's knowledge of the food safety and how all that works, we wouldn't get anywhere.
that's a lot of what took us so long though, is all the red tape with like starting a business of like food production. There's a lot of rules and licenses and things that go along with that. And we're the only, well, big thing that's like held us back or slowed us down was we're the first ones in the state of Wyoming to be doing meals like this. Like there's other companies that make freeze dried items, but doing like the full meal. So it was a lot of like back and forth with the state on getting approval for what our systems were going to look like in our processes and like the documentation and all of that, like logistical kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Um, awesome. And you guys have, I mean, it sounds like Jared, you've grown up like hunting and being outdoors your whole life. Savannah, are you in this? Are you the same?
Kind of. My dad did a lot of it. He was in the Navy and that, so my parents are actually like part owners as well. They're part of the business. And so I do remember a lot of that and have some like good and bad memories as a child of my experiences hunting with him or going with him. Um, and so we've always been like outdoorsy as well, which is kind of where that stemmed from too. But I would say Jared has me beat by far in that. So that's his realm for sure.
Yeah. Jared, did you do a lot of like backcountry hunts growing up or is that
But
something
more,
you've got into later?
yeah, later. When I played a lot of sports when I was younger, so I was always busy doing
Okay.
sports in school and everything. But once I got out of school, I started doing it more. Not as much as I'd like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Me too, though. And it's like kind of my job. So,
Right. Yeah, we should have
yeah.
started this a lot earlier.
We tried. It
Yeah.
took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I think I mean, it's hard to start any business nowadays, but like it's still possible and you guys are doing it and I think it's cool. And even in like you're doing it in the part of the industry that most people would think is totally saturated, but like you guys are making it happen, which I think is cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's way cool. Um, what are your guys' background as far as careers before you guys started this? I'm curious, are you guys full time on this or are you still working other jobs?
I don't know. We're still working other jobs. I run equipment for a living. Savannah's a
Okay.
dietitian. She works remote, so she has a more flexible schedule, so she can come in during the week and make it work. But my schedule, I'm mostly just weekends or after work working on this stuff.
On top of
Awesome.
having two kids.
Yep, and they take up a lot of time
Oh
too.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yep,
I bet.
yep. They're fun though.
So Savannah, I'd love to yeah, yeah. I'd love to hear kind of your process on making these meals, but also making sure that they're healthy and that they have good ingredients and that they just check all the boxes for what you guys have. Like, what's the process start to finish on how you would come up with that?
Yeah. Um, it's probably not as cool as you might think it is. It really, I think it started with I think we wanted to start with five options, and did like a beef, chicken, seafood breakfast. And then I pushed for the like vegetarian option. And so we kind of just like brainstorm lots of different recipe ideas and then try to find different recipes for each item, and then I would just like trial them out and see how they go. Part of my like background when I was going to school to be a dietitian, I also went to culinary school. So that really helps to kind of play around with recipes and figuring out like what does or doesn't work. But it was definitely a different experience than freeze drying it because that can really like change the flavors and the taste. And like our breakfast scramble took us a couple of runs because the first few we tried one not too long ago and it was so salty. We were like, thank God we did not serve this. Like so we really like learned as we went, and it's just a lot of like recipe adjustment. Like some of them we learned like you can't have too much of fat content or it's not going to freeze dry enough to where the moisture is like low enough to where it's safe to store and eat. So it's really just a lot of like trial and error, and then just kind of going from there. And then since then we have like this running list of items that we want to try to like maybe new meals or new snack items or different things, and we just kind of will randomly like throw them together for a dinner or a snack at home, and then if whatever extra we have we'll freeze dry and see how that turns out, and then be like, oh yeah, that was good, or no, this one needs some work. Or some of them are just like straight up not gonna work. Like we made like we tried to make like brownie bites, and they were so hard. Like you couldn't even like smash it on the table.
Break it too, trying to eat it.
So it's really just a lot of that trial and error process. And then like health wise, I think we tried to really figure out like how do we increase calories, because I know that's a big thing of like we want to have high calorie meals because a lot of times you're just eating one meal when you're in the backcountry. But doing it, because there's some companies that do it and like we've talked about it, like you have to be like ruled out of there when you eat their high calorie meal. So we wanted to make it in a way that that wasn't the case. Like you're full but you're comfortable. You could still kind of go do what you need to do. Um, and yeah, I think that like the numbers piece, like the gluten-free health piece, just kind of comes naturally to me because of my background. And so it's easy for me to be like, oh yeah, let's swap out, this ingredient for that, and that'll be a better option. And it was more of a big learning curve with the freeze drying.
Yeah. Are every single one of your meals gluten-free, or is it just some of them?
All of them except for our beef bourguignon. That one's not, because we do put
Okay.
pasta in it. We have talked about making that a gluten-free version as well. Because initially when we were testing all the recipes, it was at home, so everything we have at home is gluten-free. And then we just kind of were like, well, we figured out the recipe at home, so we're just gonna mess with it. Yeah.
Took us this long to figure it out. We're not changing it.
Yeah. So it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I think that's great because I have a couple friends who are gluten-free, and like my grandpa's gluten-free, so I know a lot of people that are. And I don't know their experiences on finding gluten-free backcountry meals, but I can imagine that it might be tough. Especially just like going to any random store and like trying to find a backcountry freeze-dried meal, like it'd be
Yeah.
hard.
Usually have to do like some pre-planning and order, like plan ahead. I think anytime we've tried to just like pop into the store, I could maybe get one item out of all the options. So it takes some pre-planning.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Um, yeah, that's a big point for you guys with that. So that's great. When you I'm curious, I don't have a freeze dryer, but when you make a meal like at home and then you freeze dry it, are there have you had times where it just like doesn't work out freeze dried, but it's great when you just make it homemade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have something that's too fatty, you can't freeze dry fat. You can't pull the moisture from the fat.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just that doesn't work. But then, like she said, the brownies, some things just turn out weird. You never really know. That's why we take so many test runs. But we've done like smoothies, things like that, things that with yogurt, high fat yogurt.
Do fat-free yogurt.
Fat-free yogurt.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, never mind. That's why she's the food
That's
lady.
I'm trying to think of what we've done that's been weird. I mean, we've even had batches when we were testing our meals that turned out weird, like the salmon chowder. It has like cream cheese and heavy cream and butter, and so that can get really fatty too quickly. So you have to like be mindful, like had to figure out the ratios and kind of be mindful of that as well. So, um,
Yeah, because when we're freeze drying, we have what is it,
a water activity
water
meter.
activity meter, and it has to be below a certain percentage. And if you don't make it below that, you can't fit package it. So fat will mess with it big time.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yep.
Um, how do you go about, or how would you recommend going about, because like getting enough fat in your diet when you are on like a backcountry hunt or a trip?
Yeah, I mean, our meals, I would say, are still fine fat wise. Like I think the salmon chowder is still pretty high in fat. I want to say it's like 40 or 50 grams of fat in one of the meals. I don't know that for sure, but that's what I think it is. So it's still definitely possible, but a lot of times I think the main focus when we're in the backcountry should be more of like the carbs and protein. Just when we think of like each
Okay.
of those macronutrients and like if we gave each of them one job, like carbs are energy, protein is muscle maintenance or repair or building, and fat is its priority is like hormone regulation. I know we use it as like an energy source, but a lot of times because we are like burning so many calories in the backcountry, we don't even always like get to the point of like super fat burning. The carbs are kind of what's going to help give us more energy in that sense. But we do, like I
Gotcha.
said, we do still have those options and um like the meat we have, like our protein packs are gonna have some fat in them. It's not totally fat free. It's
Yeah.
just
Just a lower
we just have to
amount
be
than it would be normal.
mindful of the amount that could be in it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. You're the nutritionist, so you would know better than I do what you need
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, something I've done is like I'll bring cheese sticks or something if it's like a not too long of a hunt because I just like love to have like something like that. It just tastes good when you're on a
For
hunt because
sure.
normally
Yeah.
you don't get that type of food.
And
So yeah.
yeah, it does help us like feel fuller longer too. And like I mean it does provide energy, right? But when you're in when you're in the backcountry for 5+ days, 7, 8, 9, when you really get in there, I think that's when it really gets like, we need to break it down. Like, here's where your energy is coming from. And it's mostly those carbs. And then the protein and the fat are good for like the recovery, like the end of day kind of meal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. So do you work with your dietitian stuff, do you do just like private client stuff? Is that kind of mainly what you do?
Yeah. So I do a couple different things. I work on like a telehealth platform and I just do like one-on-one sessions, for like a wide variety of things I work with people on, like gut health, chronic diseases, weight loss, things like that. I've worked with people who like want to improve their performance, with like physical activity or exercise. And then I also I work with like our local senior center and Meals on Wheels down in Casper and do some like menu stuff for them and nutrition, just random nutrition things. So it's a little bit of everything.
Cool. Yeah, that's fun. Um, I think that's pretty cool. I'm interested in a lot of that type of stuff, and my wife actually she has Crohn's disease, which you've probably heard of. So it's
Yeah.
like in your gut, right? And so
Yeah.
she has to be careful a lot of times with the stuff that she eats because her gut will get inflamed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so a lot of times, especially when we're on hunts and stuff, like some of the meals and stuff, um, can cause issues, which sucks because like you want to be at your best when you're on a hunt.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean
but it can
that's
be
super
hard.
challenging to be. I mean, a Crohn's flare up is challenging in day-to-day life, let alone in the backcountry. I couldn't even imagine what that would be very miserable, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for this fall, because we'll I'm already planning on buying some bunch of your meals, and she can try them out and
Yeah.
Good deal.
and see how they go with her, and I'm sure they'll be good. So, yeah, it'll be fun. Um, so so you guys having kids, do you guys get out much with the kids, or is that how has that been?
Not as much as we'd like, especially now that we have this going on. Our weekends are filled up with another job instead of just the ones we had. But we're gonna make
Yeah,
sure to get out this summer, take time and take days off to go be with them.
And to be fair, we haven't had great weather here.
No, not yet. And they're pretty little. We have
oh yeah,
a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so we'll get them out.
yeah, yeah, that's fun.
Yep.
We we don't have any kids yet, and we're not planning on for like another year or two, but
Yeah.
that's something that we talk about is like how are we gonna take her, like we don't want to change our lifestyle when we have kids. We want them to come with us and do the stuff
Right.
we
Yeah,
like to
Yep.
do.
you don't really, I mean, you don't really have to. They can.
Yeah.
A lot changed for us just like when I was pregnant, I was really sick with the kids. So then that kind of like shifted our whole routine. And then now with all this
Yeah.
going on, and like you said, like we just have to like refocus and get back to that and make the time for it once it's not crummy outside on the weekends.
You just have to make it happen. It's not always as easy as just going, like when you're
Yeah.
used to just the two of you, you know.
Yeah, we have to pack up a kid and all the things for the kid. It gets to be a lot.
Yeah. And then the little backpack to
Oh,
carry
I
them and a
believe it.
backpack to
Yeah.
carry everything else. And don't forget the dog and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's fun. I'm sure you guys have fun though, still,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
even though you have a lot to handle. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Um, what are your guys's? You don't have to get into crazy detail, but what's the goal with Moose Ridge Nutrition? Where do you guys plan on taking it?
Get as far as we can. I mean, we'd like it to be our full-time jobs, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
um, yeah.
I mean, we talk a lot about like it's like yes, we want to be profitable and like make money from our business, like who doesn't? But money isn't like everything to us. I mean, if it got to a point where we could like quit our jobs or like you could quit and I work part-time or something like that and we can put more into the business, like that's the goal. I think it's really important for us, like especially I think it's really important to like be a part of our community because we are in such a small area. And we really want to be able to like support our community. And we did actually just recently we started using like Wyoming beef and pork. So it's local. We get it from one of the local butcher shops here in town. Um, and I think just having like a good quality product
Yeah.
is the goal. Honestly, it's just having fun
Yeah.
with it.
And it's involved in something we like to do, being in the backcountry and
yeah,
being outside, you know, and
yeah.
then
No, I
build
think that's
something.
great, and I think that you guys will figure it out as you go, and um, especially if you just keep growing, I think you guys will. I mean, you guys have an awesome product and good values, and as from what I know, you guys are awesome people. So, um, usually I keep these kind of around like 30 minutes, and we're kind of getting close to that. Is there anything else that you guys want to cover in here that you'd like people to know?
You got anything?
I don't think so.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Yeah,
You could list off
that's
all of
awesome.
our.
So where can people? Oh yeah, let's list off your products, and then where can people find you guys?
Okay, we have 5 meals. I'll see if I can remember them all. I always forget one. We have a smoked salmon chowder, the beef bourguignon, breakfast scramble, teriyaki tofu, and chicken biryani are our meals. And then we have the protein packs that are shredded chicken, shredded beef, ground beef, and breakfast sausage. And then we're always
Awesome.
playing with stuff and wanting to add more. We have some ideas to add things in the future, so there could be some coming, some new ones.
Perfect.
Yes. And
Yeah, so
we
keep an eye out for some stuff.
Oh yeah.
yeah, and we're on we're on Instagram at Moose Reach Nutrition, and then we also have our website, which is moosereachnutrition.com, and that's where you can purchase any of our items.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks you guys for hopping on here. You can stay on and we'll chat for a second, but I'll wrap it up. And yeah, we'll see everyone next week.